The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power, tweeted, "In China, speaking out against sexual harassment is creating a disturbance. Disturbance is restricting NGOs, non-governmental organizations, fighting for universal rights." Faced with tremendous global diplomatic and social media pressure, Chinese authorities released the women after holding them at a detention center for 37 days. But today they remain criminal suspects, subject to constant surveillance by the state. The Chinese government's detention of the Feminist Five marked an important turning point in the history of women's rights in China, showing the world that a relatively small group of young feminists was capable of posing what the Chinese Communist Party perceived to be a serious challenge to its rule. Inside China, feminist activists, university students, lawyers, workers, and scholars were galvanized by anger and shock over the injustice. Even male workers who had benefited from the feminists' labor rights advocacy showed their solidarity with the Feminist Five on social media. One male worker posted a photo of himself naked from the waist up on Weibo, the Chinese version of Twitter, with his bare back turned to the camera, showing off large red characters written on his body. "Giant Rabbit," the nickname for Zheng Churan, "always proud of you. The proletariat supports you." Ever more young women, some of them only in high school, began signing up as volunteers for the fledgling but growing feminist movement. Some women who had previously avoided political discussions now decided to identify themselves publicly as feminists on social media, forcing the government's internet censors to work even more aggressively to shut down online expressions of solidarity with the Feminist Five. The term feminist, 女权主义者, suddenly became a politically sensitive key word, subject to waves of censorship. One of the Feminist Five activists, Wei Tingting, wrote an account called Prison Notes, which she posted on WeChat, under a pseudonym, about her joy in betraying Big Brother during her 2015 detention. And it is from her that I draw the title of this book. Betraying Big Brother is about the conflict between the Chinese government's unprecedented crackdown on young feminist activists and the emergence of a broader feminist awakening that is beginning to transform women in cities across China. The outcome of this conflict between the patriarchal authoritarian state and ordinary women who are increasingly fed up with the sexism in their daily lives could have far-reaching consequences for China, the world's second-largest economy, and the rest of the world. Nearly 1 out of every 5 women in the world lives in China, more than 650 million women in total. Any major demographic shift as a result of women choosing to reject marriage and children, or perhaps even to rise up collectively against the Communist Party's oppression, will inevitably reverberate throughout the global economy. Under President Xi Jinping, China's strongman authoritarianism has taken an alarming turn for the worse. On March 11, 2018, China's legislature abolished presidential term limits, allowing Xi to remain China's paramount ruler for the rest of his life. There are many reasons that China's communist regime has survived for almost 70 years, in spite of the collapse of communism in the Soviet Union and elsewhere in Eastern Europe. But it is impossible to understand the longevity of China's Communist Party without recognizing the patriarchal underpinnings of its authoritarianism. In short, China's ultimate strongman, Xi, like other autocrats around the world, views patriarchal authoritarianism as critical for the survival of the Communist Party. The Chinese government aggressively perpetrates traditional gender norms and reduces women to their roles as dutiful wives, mothers, and baby breeders in the home, in order to minimize social unrest and give birth to future generations of skilled workers. The government is also carrying out a sweeping crackdown on feminist activists, because China's all-male rulers seem to think that the entire security state would collapse were it not for the subjugation of women. As a result, the Me Too hashtag against sexual harassment has been the target of frequent censorship, posing yet another extreme challenge for the Chinese feminist activists, who have made sexual